she, her, hers. And today we're here to talk about the invisible majority, the people who do not fall in a clean, neat group of gay or a clean, neat group of straight, and what that means when you live in the gray area. So the vast majority of the world is monosexual. Monosexual means that you are primarily or entirely attracted to one gender. And that leaves the rest of us, like me, who identify as pan, poly, omnisexual, bisexual, or other identities that I may not have up here, that are attracted to more than one gender. Identity is personal. What identity means to you may not be the same thing that identity means to me. And so when we talk about bisexuality, which is the term that I identify with, I want to just make sure that you understand what it means to me. I am attracted to my gender, and I am attracted to other genders. This is not the only definition. And for the purpose of this presentation, we're going to use bisexuality as an umbrella term that includes all of the other sexualities of people who are attracted to more than one gender. That's just for simplicity purposes. I'm not saying it's necessarily the best term, but it's the term I'm going to use for now. So, in 1996, and I admit I'm dating myself a little, I was 12 years old in middle school. I woke up one morning, went to school like I normally did, and that specific day, two of my friends who identified as girls came up to me and told me that they had had a sleepover. But they didn't just sleep. And this was the first time that I'd ever heard of two people of the same gender having the ability or even want to be intimate. And as soon as I heard this, my mind started racing. Do I want that? Would I want to have been there? Am I attracted to the same gender? And I kept coming back to the same conclusion. No, I'm not attracted to the same gender because I've had crushes on boys. I chased them around the playground. I had boyfriends in middle school, so obviously I'm straight. Colleen, stop thinking about it, it's fine. So fast forward to high school, and I'm still thinking about it. I'm still questioning if I like the way that a girl looks because I want to look that way, or if I like the way that a girl looks because I'm attracted to her. And boy, was I confused. But again, I kept reassuring myself, it's fine, everything's good, you like boys, just forget about it. And I just want to say during my story, I only knew that there were binary genders in the time that this story was taking place, and I don't want to erase those identities. But for the purposes of my story, I'm telling it as it happened to me. And at that point in time, I didn't understand that gender was fluid. So, fast forward to college, I'm having dreams. Dreams where I don't just kiss boys, but dreams where I kiss other genders too. And I would wake up in the morning and be absolutely horrified. Oh my God, why am I having these dreams? I grew up in an extremely traditional family who was very conservative, and I knew that there was nothing conservative about these dreams, nothing that they would find appropriate. So I pushed it down. I graduated from college, I got married to a man, and a few years into our relationship, everything started falling apart. And so I knew that we were quickly heading for divorce. And at the time, my life was dismantling itself, right? And so as my life was being dismantled, I started asking myself, okay, everything that I've come to know up to this point is starting to change. Who do I want to be? Who am I? And so it was at that point that I really started wondering whether I had attractions, whether I could admit to myself that I had attractions beyond just guys. And that was when I quickly got on YouTube, started researching and trying to find people and figure out who I was. And for the first time ever in my life, in my mid-20s, I had heard of the term bisexual. As soon as I heard it, I was like, where has this identity been all my life? I had no idea that it was possible to be more than just gay, which there's nothing wrong with being, and more than straight, which there's also nothing wrong with being, but I was neither. So I proudly went on an online dating profile and I put, I'm bisexual and blah, 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 here's all the things about me. And I quickly learned that it wasn't just that simple. That when I say that I'm bisexual in my profile, I get lots of different reactions. Men were telling me, oh, that means that you really love to have sex, right? Oh, that means that you really want to have a threesome, right? And women, not always, but sometimes had in their profiles that they would not date a bisexual person. So this was extremely confusing to me, and I started getting afraid of the term bisexual. And at that point, I started looking for other ways to identify, because it was so hard to deal with the stigma of calling myself this. So I started calling myself queer, and I started calling myself pansexual. And it's not that those terms were any more easily explained, but it just felt like the stigma that bisexual was carrying wasn't as strong. So then, as I began to see more and more and began to integrate myself more and more into the LGBTQ plus community, I realized, who is going to change the perception of bisexuality if nobody is willing to identify with it because of the stigma? And at that point, I had an epiphany and realized that I needed to re-embrace the term. And that leads us to the rest of the presentation. So the truth is that people who identify not as monosexual are the majority of the LGBTQ plus community. This is true in adults, and it's also true among youth. But they are the smallest proportion of people to come out to their family and friends. And I know that sometimes it might seem that maybe they can make a choice to look as if they are straight, and perhaps that's what's happening here. But I would argue that there's something deeper going on. Oops, sorry. Research shows that bisexual people face discrimination from both heterosexual people and gay and lesbian people. This results in a wide array of disparities, especially impacting bisexual people's physical and mental health. It's time to recognize the unique needs of bisexual people. So what's going on here? When we look at the statistics, bisexual people are the most likely to have a mood or anxiety disorder, to have workplace discrimination, dating violence, to attempt suicide, more likely to experience physical ailments like cancer, high blood pressure, diabetes, and others. And they are also the most likely to be poor. And then we look at what might be going on. What is the stress that they're facing from both sides of the community when they don't feel that they really fit in either? And I think this stress is what's manifesting itself into a lot of the ailments that bisexual people might face. And then when we look for ourselves in the media, boy, there are not many. Thank you. There are not many. And unfortunately, the ones that are out there often perpetuate the negative stereotypes of bisexuality. And so we have to work even harder to combat what's going on. Unfortunately, we, as bisexuals, but also as people in the gender and sexual minority community, face a lot of questions that are tough to have to answer. And these ones are something that's specific to the bisexual community. But the truth is that it doesn't matter how much you are attracted to a specific gender, how much you are attracted to other genders. Anyone that is attracted to more than one gender can identify as something other than monosexual if they feel that is a term that's good for them. We can all be bisexual if we feel that's true for us. We don't date everybody. That's one of the biggest stereotypes that some people think. We're attracted to everyone. No, we're attracted to the people that we are attracted to. We're not attracted to the people that we aren't. And then there's the people who are attracted to us and the people who are willing to date someone who identifies as bisexual. And that can make a very small proportion. Oh, But since you like everyone, which we don't, you can't commit, right? Well, no. Cheating doesn't happen because you identify as something. Cheating happens because you want to cheat. People in every community can cheat. It's all about choices. And I want to say here that sometimes when we are busy defending bisexuality, we accidentally slut shame or accidentally think or make people think that they can't be polyamorous and bisexual. That's absolutely not true. You can have sex and enjoy sex. You can have multiple relationships and enjoy multiple relationships and be bisexual or any other identity that you want. The key point here is that it shouldn't be assumed that you are doing these things. You should be able to define yourself. So what changes whether you're bisexual? Well, it doesn't matter whether you've had experience. You can know who you are without having had experience. And it doesn't matter who you're dating. Sometimes people think, oh, you're dating a man, you must be straight for me. Or you're dating a woman, you must be gay. No, I'm still bisexual in every relationship that I'm in. You, and this is true for everybody, should never have to prove your sexuality. You don't have to answer probing questions. You are always welcome in queer spaces. You don't have to apologize, and you should definitely be proud of who you are. So sometimes people think it's 50% gay and 50% straight. No, it's its own unique, wonderful identity. And for some reason, and this really plays into Richard's presentation, we think that everyone defaults to liking men. Gay women will, if they meet the right guy, date them. Bisexual women will probably end up with the man. And bisexual men, oh, they're definitely gay. No, why do we say that? How do we think we know more about somebody else than they know about themselves? If someone tells you who they are, believe them. Bisexuality is great, and I'm just here to tell you a little bit about why it is a valid identity and we need to talk more about it. So what can we do? Acknowledge that bisexuality and other non-monosexualities are valid, that they are welcome, that they are always those identities, even if they are dating one specific person. And don't assume, based on who someone's dating, what their sexuality is. Let them define that for you. So, along with being bisexual, which is cool all by itself, there are a lot of pun opportunities. And here's just one. Dating myself here again. Thank you so much for coming. It was awesome to talk to you today. If you have any questions, I will take them now. And if you did take the handouts, I realized that I accidentally turned in my info to Laurent without my contact information on it. So if you want it and you want to contact me, please feel free. Any questions? Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people say that, like, bisexuality, the basic, like, word root and everything are, like, too tied into the gender binary, and that it would be more correct, I guess, for people to instead identify as pan. Do you think that's, like, what do you think about that?
I think it depends on your definition. I've definitely heard that as well. And I do think that there probably are people who would say that they are only attracted to cis men and cis women, and that's okay for them. But for me, the way that I look at this binary definition is that I'm attracted to my gender and I am attracted to other genders. And in that way, I include everybody. Any other questions? Rock on, thank you.